South Africa versus Wales on Supersport is proudly brought to you by Vodacom.
It's a feeling burning inside that makes me behave in a certain way. Something that I value, you want, respect.
South Africa versus Wales.
2007. Bloemfontein, the city of roses, on a perfect winter's day. It's been very chilly in the morning, but warming up nicely for the first home international for the Springboks since they lifted the Webb Ellis Trophy in France 2007. A huge match awaits us. The world champions against the Six Nations champions. South Africa, Wales riding high from their Grand Slam victory in the Six Nations. Plenty of Welsh support that have made all their way to Bloemfontein. But of course, plenty of Springbok support as well. So much riding on this game today. South Africa against Wales, coming to you live from Vodacom Park in Bloemfontein. And I'm joined for this first home international by former Springbok fly half Joel Stransky. Joel, so much riding on this game today. A new coach for South Africa, a couple of new caps in the side as well, and so much pride to defend.
Absolutely, and most
21st Test
a lot of
between two
expectation
proud
on
rugby nations, South Africa and Wales, will kick off shortly on this field. And this isn't my average Test match day dress code. But if I wanted to watch this Test match today from the grandstand, this is how I'd have to be dressed, and this is why. The 21st Test match between two proud rugby nations, South Africa and Wales, will kick off shortly on this field. And this isn't my average Test match day dress code. But if I wanted to watch this Test match today from the grandstand, this is how I'd have to be dressed. And this is why. The grandstand here at Vodacom Park in Bloemfontein undergoing extensive renovations in preparation for the FIFA World Cup 2010 to be played here in South Africa. And as part of those renovations, plenty of extra VIP hospitality, new changing rooms and a new tunnel for the players, plenty of extra parking, and most importantly for the spectators, 7,000 extra seats, which will bring the capacity to 45,000.
It is a stadium that serves for the 1995 Rugby World Cup, the Super 14 and all other tests, and also Bafana matches. So it is a world-class facility.
in which we have to
the total amount of money that Mangaung municipality is going to spend in upgrading the stadium in preparation for the FIFA World Cup, it's 305 million.
We have a contract period of about 12 months in which we have to cast approximately 6,000 cubic meters of concrete, about 8,000 tons of steel, reinforcing steel. There are about 24,000 square meters of formwork and shuttering, so it's quite a big area that we're actually adding onto the stadium.
Vodacom Park is the home stadium for both the Free State Cheetahs rugby team and Bloemfontein Celtic soccer team. And amazingly, even given the almost weekly sport that has taken place during construction, things are very much on track.
We will complete the stadium.
I think that the stadium has done very well thus far and served the interest of the Cheetahs in the Super 14. Bloemfontein Celtic played there. But the construction continues.
We're very optimistic that we will complete the stadium by about the end of August, the beginning of September. But definitely it will still be well ahead of the FIFA deadline of December 2008. 90% of both the workforce.
One of the great benefits of the construction program around the 2010 FIFA World Cup is the positive spin-off that it has for local communities all over South Africa. Here in Bloemfontein, it's been no different.
I would say more than 90% of both the workforce as well as people that are working on site here are mostly from the Free State, which is something that I think as a city as well as the province we're very excited about, because it means that we will be able to, not only are we going to spend money in terms of upgrading the stadium, but we are going to contribute positively towards boosting the local economy.
So as you can see, excellent progress has been made here at Vodacom Park in Bloemfontein, and we will soon have a venue fit to host matches in the 2010 FIFA World Cup, and also a sparkling new home for the Cheetahs in Super 14 and Currie Cup rugby. Now, even given the renovations, there are 30,000 tickets available for the test match between South Africa and Wales. But looking around me here, there aren't many other takers for the grandstand. So, time to shed the tunic and the hard hat and head off to the commentary box.
Well, Matthew, you look pretty much at home on the construction site there. Spalding continues, yeah. Yes, there's some park in Bloemfontein pulled up to Soccer World Cup 2010. They're coming back to the South African team. Changes since the last World Cup, and a bit of pressure there. Wales too, you touched on it. Six Nations champions with a lot to do today.
Yes, they certainly do have some interesting selections, which we'll go through in just a minute from the Welsh as well. But a huge day for Peter de Villiers, his first match in charge of the Springboks. One of the most difficult teams in World Rugby to coach.
Warren Gatland has a different problem. He's left 8 star players at home, but still loads of experience in the front row. Powerful form of Captain Jenkins and Adam Jones. With the ball lineup, we'll look to pressure going in of Matthew Reese. Coupled to the lineup jumpers of Ian Goff and the very talented and highly rated Alan Wynne-Jones. Ryan Jones is a captain as both captain and player, but between himself, David James and Jonathan Thomas this afternoon, they'll have their work cut out. The Springboks forward trio will carry the ball extremely well, and these two will look to stop it. Turchase Crown this afternoon is Garrett Cooper. Hasn't played much rugby this year, and some say he may be lacking in confidence, but outside it, the most captain team, Stephen Jones, and a couple of kickers push the box back and test the back field. Those will these two, Tom Shanklin and Sonny Parker. Very strong, tough and direct. This young main form of the Welsh attack will come at the back. Former 31-year-old Shane Williams, 41 tries and 56 tests. His combination with Mark Jones on the tall, Jamie Roberts at the back will be his impetus on the Welsh attack, and particularly for this young man, a big afternoon. Most important man, Captain South Africa. The fans continue to pour in now. 30,000 seats available, not 30,000 seats full for Peter de Villiers' first test as the Springbok coach. He retains out 5 players from last year's Rugby World Cup final. Most importantly, that man in the middle, the captain South Africa for the 50th time today. He's joined by Guthrie Steenkamp and David Jantjes, Zimbabwean-born Ryan Jantjes. Another debut for the son of former Block linebacker Andries Becker makes his debut too, and is linked at the hip with Bucky's Botha in the second row. Strong in the line-out, powerful. They set a good foundation for G Street, and Luke Watson ends his second cap. He'll be the fetcher today in a powerful exploit drill that includes the great ball skills, running skills, John Smith, and Pearson. James returns to the UK partners Paula Conradi this afternoon. A late replacement for Ricky January, suspended for 1 match after incident. Midfield roads, Andy Jacobs hasn't played Test Rugby since 2002. He'll be so excited to be back. What a man to play next to. Very informed and experienced Sean de Villiers. Pace, and more pace right out in the form of Havana and Shabanga. Lots of wings. Very impressive from Jantjes. Look at the last line of defense and attacking option for the box for the first time since 1997. Now taking a look at the replacement benches, Joel.
So plenty to play for here this afternoon in Bloemfontein, but also a reminder that in 2009 the British and Irish Lions will be in South Africa for the first time since 1997. Now taking a look at the replacement benches, Joel. So much experience on the bench for South Africa.
Very much so. CJ Panalinda, Matt Field, Pearson, Montgomery, loads of caps there. Donny Rousseau will be the one player under a bit of pressure. International 14. Our Peter Grant for this one, he's certainly talented in the future. The Welsh, not as much experience, but still some in Duncan Jones and the highly talented James Hunt.
So the stage is perfectly set for the 21st international between these two proud rugby nations, South Africa and Wales. Wales have won just one of those matches back in 1999 at the opening of the Millennium Stadium in Cardiff. They won that encounter by 29 points to 19. There was a draw back in 1970 when Gareth Edwards' late try drew the game 6 points apiece. But Wales have never won on South African soil before. And Joel, as Six Nations champions, despite the injuries they've suffered since lifting that crown, there's an air of confidence that perhaps this is a better time than ever before to get that first victory in South Africa. Amazing enough to see the physicality in their training sessions throughout this week. Really up the intensity of their preparations. They spent the week down in Cape Town, interestingly. Yesterday to Bloemfontein, the city of roses, to make their final preparations for their captain's run here at Vodacom Park. The last 4 weeks, there's 8 players in total that have joined South Africa. South Africa key player time as captain, his 76th international skills features to play and George Green at 50. What a moment for John Smith, leading South Africa out for the 50th time as captain, his 76th international here, and he edges towards the world record of international caps for a captain. The record, of course, held by Will Carling and George Green at 59. Sean Fitzpatrick, Martin Johnson and John Eales have all captained their countries over 50 times, but if John Smith plays all the tests for South Africa this year, he will break that record and be the most capped international captain in time. In South African terms, Gary Teichmann lies second with 36, Francois Pienaar with 29. So John Smith continues to establish himself as South Africa's longest serving leader. And most importantly, from a team perspective, it's a team of time. It's a team that makes you start the imagination skills. This team is absolutely Villiers, what a season he had for the Stormers as well in Super 14, and Montgomery getting a recall to Test rugby, his last Test in 2005 against Argentina. John Smith alongside Buffalo's Kierkamp, a new look front row for South Africa. His team throughout the players will gather for the national anthems. Landmark Rockies put a Welsh national anthem, just having a quiet moment before the kickoff. The spirit in this team throughout the week has been phenomenal. The new boys have been welcomed with open arms. And the first anthem, of course, will be Land of My Fathers, the Welsh national anthem, sung by Carl Azzi. supporters by Carlos now. Nkosi Sikeleli, Africa, sung by David cost him a place in the Rugby World Cup squad in 2007. 36 test matches. Peter Grant, who's on the bench this afternoon, 2 test matches in the Tri-Nations last year in Australia and New Zealand. He'll be looking to make an appearance. And the try scorer extraordinaire, Brian Habana, 30 tries in 36 test matches. And of course those 8 wonderful scores in France 2007, equaling the record of the great John Alomu. 41 test matches for Shane Williams, 41 test tries. And Dave Pearson, the referee from England. They do love their rugby in Wales, and you can see the patches of red in amongst the crowd in the stadium. There's the Welsh try scoring machine. 41 test matches for Shane Williams, 41 test tries. Dave Pearson, the referee from England, will be assisted by Lyndon Bray and Stuart Terhege on the touchlines, and Graham Hughes from England is the television match official.
Thanks. Stay behind it, guys. Reds, be ready.
Kicking into the setting sun is Butch James, the Springbok Lions. They're all set to go in Bloemfontein, and the first test of the 2008 season is underway.
Pulse one, no hands there. Leave green, not in there.
The Welsh scrum half will want a confidence-building early touch.
6 on the way. No.
Much will they missed the services of Dwayne Peel, and it was Cooper's touch for Stephen Jones. Took the responsibility of the kick earlier. Conrad Jantjes back in a test jersey. He played against Wales at the end of the 2007 season in the tour after the Rugby World Cup.
Outside, Stu.
Touch for Stephen Jones. Great tactical play.
Space, executed perfectly. There's also Jones and Conrad Jantjes and torpedoes over the show. 2007 coming down unexpectedly, but well controlled.
Reds! Wider. Your space, the line of the game.
Pressure position for the skipper John Smith. But the most accurate hooker at the World Cup in 2007. To the tail he goes, and John Smith, the homeboy from Bloemfontein.
No hands!
Ola Conradi, good close touch for him, back into the hands of Rich James. Rich James' tactical kicking, so good at Rugby World Cup as well.
On the 10, Reds.
Williams gets his first opportunity, goes the aerial route.
Backwards, play on.
He's got so much pace. Stephen Jones had stayed back and read the play perfectly. Boost his confidence. It's James with the deep kick, and James Roberts in the full-back position, playing just his second test match for Wales this afternoon, and that'll boost his confidence no end.
Yeah, certainly. He's a big chap. He's a tall chap, is Jamie Roberts. Put up and under here. Good chase. He was tall as John Smith. Got up, taken into the side area. He's also covered well. And once again, the tactical kicking game with the Welsh getting the side pedal and the spinning kicks and thrust.
Towering over the rest of the players on the park today. Smith poised. First taken international rugby for Andries back in and it's a long way down for him.
Contact in the air, pull him down.
2 meters and 8 centimetres. Towering over the rest of the players on the park today. His father, Henny Becker, of course, a Springbok, played 2 tests against New Zealand in 1981. Springboks opting to walk into this lineup. Smith is ready.
It's a good take. Good hard throw. He's a big, tall man. Pulled down, most certainly.
3 different options used with 3 different tries by John Smith.
You'd expect him to dominate the number 4.
That is the variety available. Springboks opting to walk into this lineup. Smith is ready. Smith and Spies used so far. Now Smith with the drive. 3 different options used with 3 different throws by John Smith.
Hands off!
That is the variety available through the Springbok lineup.
No hands!
Smith and Spies used so far. Now Smith with the drive.
Mark's not caught.
His hands through the tackle. Knocked on by Wales, so a scrum advantage as James attacks the advantage line.
Too many bodies got to fall out. First offence. Red knock on.
A lot of carrying of the ball.
Number 8, shoulders in.
That's James attacking the game. Relatively hard, I'd say, on the tackle. Come out. Solid Welsh defence. They're taking the space quickly.
Not often you see that in a test match against South Africa. 60-kilogram advantage near enough for the Welsh, and it's one area of the game, as they've said all week, that they won't lie down, they won't fear anything from the Springbok attack. Recycle for Kamali. Just Welsh defence. Yes, another good recycle. Karate from James. That was the dummy runner, and Villiers took up to the game line. Quick recycle for Kamali, and Smith punches a hole in the Welsh defence. Another good recycle, and a good take from Smith. Behind him.
Advantage 6 slowing down.
Penalty advantage now to South Africa. There's Jonathan Thomas, the ruck still available for them though, and Dave Pearson plays the advantage.
Six red. Six red, right out the way. Please, 6 legs.
The teams have got off to a start here. The Boks looking to carry the ball. They're well shutting down the Springboks in defence, closing the gap quickly, carrying the ball there by Jonathan Thomas.
Legs right out the way, please.
Well, it's been a debate all week, Joel. How are the laws going to affect South Africa? They've played under the new experimental law variations in Super 14. Wales, of course, used to the old laws, and the game being played to the old laws today.
Continue to find on your second
Takedown has always been an issue.
It has. I think the difference in the ELVs or the experimental law variations compared to today is more or less the sanction, not so much the what you do wrong. I suppose. It's rather penalised with a full-arm penalty and the opportunity for the opposition to kick you back or kick the ball. Rather than saying you have to behave differently at the ruck and the other time. This will always be a contentious issue. It makes a huge difference in terms of places to play.
61 test marks, which James so far. Can he make it 60? majority of the kick from the base and did well.
Interesting, South Africa trying to run it out of the 22. I'm told that the Springboks have worked hard during the meetings from the change. The approach slightly, maybe that has helped. Maybe South Africa will carry the ball more. The last couple of years we've seen quite a defensive-oriented World Cup type style.
First line up for Wales, it's untidy ball for Gareth Cooper. He's quickly wrapped up by the South African defence. Not the platform they would have wanted. They were forced into the error, being hassled at the right by South Africa and conceding the scrum.
Gareth Cooper was at the bottom of the rest representing the big one for the Welsh. No scrum off the forward, trying to pick and go.
Don't stand halfway over the goal.
Carry the ball, just powerful for the Welsh team.
Now James looking for Lady Jacobs to
Just to see how the scrum has gone.
Rajati up against Gethin Jenkins.
Ball's out!
From South Africa. An anxious moment for Conradi. And now James with the kick for Lady Jacobs to chase. Jamie Roberts took his eyes off it at the crucial moment. It's available for South Africa. Now it comes for Juan Smith. Over the top of the hands of Jantjes. Beautiful take from the fullback. The support players have overrun it. But the Welsh all offside of the previous run.
All offside it was. Came from the air though. Jamie Roberts probably had more time than he thought he had. Jumped a little early, took his eyes off the ball, looked up at Eddie Jacobs chasing and knocked it on horribly. A little pass ball over the top to Conrad Jantjes. Shut down the space well from an offside position.
Back in the test scene. He played his last test in 2005.
I fancy that pitch change will be getting a few more up and unders in the next few minutes.
Well, you mentioned it in the build-up, Joel. They've got so much pace to chase those up and unders. Tonderai Shavanga back in the test scene. He played his last test in 2005. If anything, his debut was against Uruguay and scored 6 tries in the process. Butch James playing his 27th test match today. Successful with his first penalty this today. Easier shot to go. Conceding some territory. Just starting to play their composure. Taking the points with them. It's a perfect strike. Conceding some territorial advantage early on. Just starting to play their composure and taking the points with them. Matthew Rees to the tail of the line where Jonathan Thomas makes a good take. First real opportunity for the Welsh to spread the ball towards midfield. No way through there for Adam Jones. Cooper for Jones. And again, Thomas spun through the tackle, got the offload to Sonny Parker. Now they've got to defend the short side. Combined efforts of Juan Smith and Andries Becker. No way through there for Adam Jones. And again, the handling errors costing the Welsh. They're getting precious little ball, and when they are getting it, it's unforced errors.
Test match, expected to be horrible with that, because too many mistakes. See the attacking option now for the Springboks. Those 2 balls that they've run into the midfield once through Villiers and once through Eddie Jacobs. I wouldn't be surprised to see a little skip move and being sucked in a couple of defenders in the first 2 moves. Takes the Welsh defence out.
Adam Jones. Between Adam Jones and Gethin Jenkins, 106 test caps, so much experience up against a debutant in Ryan Jantjes. So the first real attacking platform for the Welsh inside Springbok territory. Stage 1 is completed well, and Rees got the ball back from his jumper. Jones now, Sonny Parker can delay the tackle of Jean Villiers.
Advantage! No releasing.
Held on the ground there, the tackle not rolling around. It's Stafford Jones with the drive up to the 22. Quick recycle for Cooper. Jones made a couple of valuable yards. Flat ball in midfield for Jonathan Thomas.
It was legal there, back here for Burke.
Good contest, he made the tackle on his feet, contested for the ball. There was Villiers giving the penalty away for getting the ball a couple of phases earlier.
Not releasing.
Credit to Wales, they continued the attack.
Dignity's on that.
Got the penalty, just a walk, good passage of play. Strong run from Sonny Parker. This is where the penalty comes to. Villiers falls on the wrong side now, doesn't release the player. Compare that to this one. Down he goes, straight back onto his feet. And the ball, penalty against him for the first one.
Perfect strike. It's a great day for the goal kickers. A breath of wind. Perfect conditions. And so Stephen Jones, a veteran of 70 test matches before this one, and 613 test points. It's a great day for the goal kickers. Another breath of wind. Perfect conditions, and Wales back within 3.
He's not wasting the time, does he? Excellent places and boots it whenever it goes.
Towards the end of last year.
Just to be Ryan Jones with the tackle. His back was up to make the tackle.
So the restarts was an excellent part of the Springboks play towards the end of last year. Havana chased it hard. Ryan Jones with the take. His back was up to make the tackle.
Stay, lads, stay! Oh, wait!
He's got to try and start. Jones was able to recover. Pressure from the Jules.
Onside, Green, stay!
Roberts.
Oh, wait!
Wasn't fine touch. Pierre Spies had a lot of ground to make. Offload to Jantjes, and it was just forward.
It wasn't the best kick from the Welsh defenders, but certainly one that hung up there for a long time. Maybe the chase to get the Welsh chase was good. It's just a field pass. Just an edge to kick. That's just his Josh Jones just starting it well. It's a good pressure from South Africa.
Slipping again, let's do step. Crouch. Touch, pause, again!
One goes down to the front rows again. This time it was Guthrie Steenkamp here on the loose head side for South Africa, who couldn't get a bind.
We're slipping again, let's do step. Just shout this time.
This is just released just a straight on. It's good to move away from this. This time it's straight down. This is good on screen. Something to there's a couple of South African forwards who be that used to have tough scrummaging teams, before teams like this. The most emphasis put on scrummaging itself, and Pearson it certainly is. Especially as he's in the
Free kick quickly taken by Ryan Jones. The tackle from Villiers. Jones Jantjes managed to stay on his feet for a crucial extra moment. Welsh coming into the ruck from the side. Penalty, South Africa. Now the banner screaming for the ball out on the left wing, but surely it will be safety first. It is under the restart to evade the advancing Welsh defenders, and an excellent clearance from the Springbok fly half takes play up to halfway. Reese with the throw over the top for Wales. Beautifully catch by the skipper. It's such a huge Six Nations championship. Ryan James, now a chance for Tom Shanklin. Excellent tackle from Eddie Jacobs here on his feet. Stephen Jones did well to clean up. Now Cooper is pulling around the fringes of his ruck. Really anywhere to go. Luke Watson is foraging in there and doing well on his feet. Fantastic day.
Isolated player. Six on his feet. Fellas. Let me referee, please.
He's made the tackle straight on his feet. I realised at one point that he wasn't on his feet. He got up because he tested to be there.
Fantastic day for Luke Watson. Got his first test last year against Samoa. If you listen to Jake Wright talk and read his book, it was under duress. And there are many who believe that he's here because he deserves to be here, and proved it on that occasion.
He's had a great Super 14, so he's only 2 years ago, it was a year before that his first test as if he deserved it. More something trying to see, but he certainly deserves it.
And Luke Watson now bursts away. That's the support initially. From Roddy was there. Was no knock on there, says the referee. So a let off for South Africa. Habana provides the continuity slot. Wales got pass. Wales the intercept. Now Jantjes. An elusive runner from the back. He was up from fullback for that one move. Had that ball been hacked through by the Welsh, there would have been no one at home. Rescued by Eddie Jacobs there as well. Now back into the pocket for Butch James. He looked as though he might look for a snap drop. The chase from Shannon. Williams not covered.
Tidied up well. Eventually with
Luke Watson.
ball coming out to Butch James. He's one of the little messes that has been around. Jantjes tidied it well. But still, Butch James made a good kick.
No hands!
Ready for Luke Watson with a reverse pass to Brian Habana, who looks to go up the middle. Jacobs presented for Conradi. Takes a couple of steps with the ball, just allows the defence that extra moment to get Jantjes. Jacobs. Elusive from breaking play. Steam Campbell has got away. Hands in at the Super burst from the big loose head, relishing the opportunity to start in Test rugby in place of the break lost to right.
Super burst. What about the little ball from Eddie Jacobs? Hands on the tackle. He's explosive. Got in between two defenders. Drew them both in. Opened up a little bit of space for Jantjes. He came charging through. That's what we're accustomed to seeing from Eddie Jacobs. He's very much as an impact player for the Sharks, and whichever team he's played for in the last couple of seasons. Certainly full of running. There's loads of ability.
Adrian Jacobs, last Test job. Back in 2002 against England at Twickenham. That horrible Test match, 53-3.
Not only he, but I think every South African would love to forget. That was Parker. He sent a Parker that day, was.
Times have changed. Jantjes welcome back to Test rugby. His presence it is the easiest version of confidence. Just slip him into it. Adrian Jacobs, welcome back to Test rugby. After a 5.5-year absence, making his presence felt here in Bloemfontein. There are those who ask questions of his defence. He's put in 2 big tackles already this afternoon. Different restart from Stephen Jones this time, knocked on by Becker. Springboks under pressure.
First error from the big man. Into the sun, that's almost certainly the problem there. Walking straight out of the sun. Let's go first take it to the top. It's a clever kick off edge. Rising in right at the top of the chase.
Previous restarts by Stephen Jones have given the Springboks plenty of time to clear.
Let's go first take it. Receiving it to teach on the edge. CJ from the window. It's nice to have the likes of CJ on the bench. Way up both sides of the scrum. Just talented skiller and his running abilities. CJ from the window. It's quite a lot of details on the ball now. It makes us wonder. First team coming to have the altitude. First team is really bad for his team captain and making his way off.
CJ van der Linden, 49th Test cap today. Seeing our first team comes off to have some attention to a blood injury. Very warm welcome to CJ van der Linden in his hometown of Bloemfontein. For no other reason. As you say, really comfortable on both sides in the front row. Jones performed a tight head roll for South Africa as a World Cup. Perhaps elaborated a little the Welsh there. Shanklin battling to get the ball back. Now Sonny Parker for no other reason than the last 2 runkers there. He was no place for anyone else. Cooper for Jones. A bit of dummy runners, but that perhaps over-elaborated a little the Welsh there. Shanklin battling to get the ball back. Now Sonny Parker. South African defence very quickly up. Welsh not making much headway. Now Gethin Jenkins. And again, Ian Goff's hands letting him down. It goes backwards on that occasion. Almost the first touch. He's been patient for now. Taking off Cooper. This is Sonny Parker. Matthew Rees with a drive up. Big hit in midfield by Joan Smith. Slowly but surely they've made some progress and now making any ground at all. Brings it out to Mark Jones. Almost the first touch for him, but Wales being patient for now, taking it through the phases. Matthew Rees with a drive up and now Aaron Jones. Slowly but surely they've made some progress and now handing it brings an end to, I suppose you could call it an encouraging passage of play in terms of protecting the ball with the South African defence. Quickly up.
Team tackling from centre bearing, Jacobs and Villiers. Juan Smith gaining Robin to do it. It's interesting, every time you get more tackling the same way, no real changes in direction. It's always to the outside side, to that side, enormous side of space.
Much better scrum from South Africa. And Villiers brought in at close quarters. From Rich James. Jamie Roberts well positioned.
10 metres, 10 metres!
That kick hasn't gone nearly as far as he would have liked, but he's a big tall man and gets up to claim it ahead of Tom Shivanga.
Stay up! We lost! Stay!
A second.
Cooper for Jones.
6 moves! Not your 6!
Jonathan Thomas set up the ruck. This is better from Wales. Shaky. Forward pass.
More pass.
Unlucky, delayed it for half a second. That is the new Springbok coaching team on the left. Gary Gold, Eddie de Villiers and Dick Muir. Looks like a happy team. Spent a little bit of time chatting to them this morning. Seem to be working very well together. I think they're going to do a great job.
First test for all of them as coaches. Dick Muir, of course, played test rugby for South Africa in the centre.
Touch! Both sides.
Not often you see that these days. A free kick. Cooper and Jones. And Dafford Jones now. Not often you see that these days. Slowly but surely. A free kick. Finding some rhythm and some momentum. Cooper and Jones. And Dafford Jones now. The Welsh slowly but surely just finding some rhythm and some momentum. It's just the handling here is getting them down.
I don't understand why you keep on playing that close to the touchline against the South African defence. It's double tackling and we want to certainly try and push you into touch. First comes the feed, and that's right in his feet.
Beautiful stepping in midfield.
He's trying to drag into touch by Rich James. Too much is going on his shoulder and his head in the line.
Tap from Becker. It was awkward at first for Conradi. Now Sean Villiers. Beautiful stepping in midfield. Conradi changes the direction. Turns Shane Williams. It ends up being a wonderful kick.
Thanks for Shane Williams. Good bounce from Bullock Conradi. 29 minutes in. He's not really out of touch yet, as dynamic and exciting Shane Williams. 31 years old. 82 kilograms he is. 56 tests and 41 tries. It's an enormous strike rate. It's just bearing in mind that it's one of his greatest in the last 2 years. In best conditions.
He was in, he's just left it.
Matthew Rees is getting that as at times it is just throwing him into his
Alan Wynne Jones was barking the orders. It's a run against the floor by Samantha. Quick ball to the banner. He's going to take it on the bounce, which slowed his progress a little. try for Conrad Jantjes in his 12th Test match. After a great Curry Cup last year, he got a recall to the Springbok side that played Wales in Cardiff at the end of last year. Prior to that, he'd been in the Test match wilderness since 2005. What a way to announce his return for his first Test on home soil in over 3 years.
So now been all kicks. Takes the pass inside to perfection in Jantjes and followed up well. And Jacobs unselfishly made the final pass. Number of really exciting bits of play in the board.
And also having weathered a storm for a few minutes down in their own territory.
Hands up! Please stay up! Hands up, Red!
Baker this time claimed the restart comfortably. Stephen Jones. Jones takes the throw into himself. Jamie Roberts.
Hands up! Green!
Cooper for Stephen Jones. Does well. His teammate to bring him down. Cooper again works the short side. This is Alan Jones. Support from Ian Goff is lock partner. Flat ball now for Wales, and again it's the handling that lets them down.
Wales handling errors continue around. Surprise me, he's gone to the field. Jantjes has gone off with the Blackburn.
Time out.
Just how much the players in the first 32 minutes of this Test match repaid the faith shown in them by new Springbok coach Peter de Villiers, Luke Watson, Lady Jacobs, Conrad Jantjes.
We didn't get a chance to see Watson's contribution. It was really heat. You saw the space around the side of the picked and went very quickly. Well voted to John Smith in the tackle. And the momentum was built. Kept on building from there on in. He was a good throw. It was a good match. It was heavy. 10 miles for South to get back. I know there's plenty of time. This is a South African team that they only spent 2 weeks together. It looks very, very organised indeed.
Satisfactory contribution from CJ van der Linde as Guthrie Steen comes back. The 8-9 between Spies and Montgomery. The chase from Shavanga. Just a little too much angle on the kick. Pressure at the line.
Basically, let's go. You just need to see him in play. And it's like
under pressure at the line. This time it is won by Ian Goff. It's a flat ball for Jones and straight at the moment. Spies couldn't hang on in the tackle by Goff. He's looking for Sonny Parker out to the defense. Had the pass covered. Beautiful hands from Ryan Jones. Mark Jones out on the left wing. It was an awkward pass for him, and that's added to the momentum. Win the penalty, but still they come the Welsh. Tackle from John Smith, the skipper. Dislodged the ball. Now a counter-attack opportunity for the Springboks. They'll win the penalty for the side entry into the frustration setting into the Welsh Shepherd side. James clears, it's a good kick.
Great from Stephen Jones. Space with his pace got across and made the half tackle, slowed him down enough. Completed though. It's James clears, it's a good kick. As you can see there in the spaces. That's ball not comfortable in David Jones' hands. Dislodged. Another hand. Disappointing crowd here in Bloemfontein, as you can see the open spaces.
Preparations being made for the FIFA World Cup in 2010. The upgrade of the stadium around South Africa. Andries Becker has been influential in the run-out on his own and Welsh throws. Smith, Jacobs, it's all Juan Smith.
He's just fallen, lads. Bad from first goal. It's you. Thanks, get to it. 15, lads. Go to screen. Go to screen. Your one.
Eddie Jacobs' injury is the past, and Peter Grass comes off. Good pause in the throw from John Smith. Juan Smith not too down, said Dave Pearson.
The throw is Steele, was the first offence.
For Mark Jones to chase.
Small blindside, also
Just doesn't feel that the South African scrum is growing in confidence and working as well. Cooper puts the kick ahead for Mark Jones to chase. Jantjes. He tries to get a spin on the ball. Almost works. Shane Williams will look at the second attempt. The players not retreating outside of the 10-metre radius. Thinking quickly on their feet. Ian Goff. He's running out of space down the right. Shane Williams. Adam Jones. There's the whistle being just a point pass inside. Williams is looking at his dangerous. Sunny Parker.
Good straightening it was from Sonny Parker, and a perfect offload. No one in front. Easy run in. Good try for this Welsh team.
Well, it was the broken tackle of Conrad Jantjes that really delivered the killer blow in that movement. Sonny Parker taking him on head-on.
South Africa have slipped off 1 or 2 tackles already. So they're in disappointment. Attempted tackles made, how many they failed on. An easy kick for Stephen Jones. This one, look at that magnificent camera angle.
And Stephen Jones raises the flag, so they're back within 9 points. Just a minute and a half before half-time. He entered the space for Jamie Roberts. And testimony to the strength of character in this Welsh side. Going 19 points to 3 down. And Sonny Parker bouncing off the tackles. Created the space for Jamie Roberts. And right back in it. Backwards. Once again, it was Brian Bennett doing the chasing. Makes the tackle. Jones will contesting the territory here. Spies doing the 8th man cover work. Jantjes. Ryan Jones with the take. Jantjes quickly up, makes the tackle. South Africa contesting the ball on their feet. They had men there in numbers. And it was Brian Johnson who's won that penalty.
Trying to stay on his feet as long as possible. The tackle was good. Certainly majority contested well. On the brink of up and under from Conrad Jantjes. Waited well. It's a good tackle then, Jantjes. Off the field he goes. Majority's good to contest. Judged to have been holding. Butch James will certainly pop this over. On the brink of half-time. Important to extend that lead.
100% kicking record for Butch James. A conversion and 4 penalties. And after this kick, surely we will hear the half-time hooter. Once again, the boot. Once again, an excellent strike. Bush James, and there he is, just for the half-time whistle. Six Nations champions. One try apiece to South Africa and Wales. 5 penalties from the boot of Butch James. And at half-time, you might say that the Springboks are doing a lot more than just keeping up with the Joneses. They lead the Six Nations champions by 22 points to 10. We'll be back in a few moments with the second half.
Do you? You don't? Do you? You don't? This is Bloemfontein, where the Springboks lead the Welsh 22 points to 10 at half-time. A try apiece from both teams. Now Sports has been looking at that first half, and he's got a bit of analysis for us. Now, what are your thoughts on that first half?
Thanks, Danny. Yeah, what when we listen to Garth and Cliff,
this is Bloemfontein, where the Springboks lead the Welsh 22 points to 10 at half-time. A try apiece from both teams. Now Sports has been looking at that first half, and he's got a bit of analysis for us. Now, what are your thoughts on that first half?
Thanks, Danny. Yeah, what when we listen to Garth and Cliff, they were talking a lot about the lineouts. Now, first, let's look at South Africa lineouts. Of course, it's a major part at the moment in the success of the first 40 minutes. And so far, they've just done fantastically, making sure that the ball gets away from the lineout very quickly. Not really the best passes out wide, but look at the pressure on Wales there. They're under pressure, they can't really control the ball, and I believe that is for me the difference at the moment in the line-out. And then look at the tackling. Look at South Africa taking the Wales players back, and that's the way you need to make sure that they don't get over the advantage line. And I think at the end, if you look at the try that South Africa did score later, it was a fantastic try. But Tony, back to you.
All right, thanks, Nas, and let me bring you guys in. And I've got to say, Gorbis, Scott, that you're 100% right in when we spoke about the teams at the beginning. But let's get your thoughts on the action now in the first half.
Well, first for me, Wales have made too many unforced errors. At the moment they couldn't catch a cold, let alone a rugby ball. Not one pass is stuck for them, so they're not looking good. I must say, if I want to get them like now, I'd be shouting at the players. They almost seem like they're asleep. It doesn't look as if they're alive and in this game at all. South Africa has put them under incredible pressure. I think South Africa has done extremely well. If you have a look at those match stats over there, handling errors 10-5. That has been the huge difference in this game. And obviously, if you look at the tackles made there, South Africa made some really telling tackles there. 38 tackles to the 26. And if you look at that, South Africa hasn't had possession. 57% went to Wales, and that was in the latter half of that first half.
But it's what kind of possession, the quality that the Springboks got, they used better. The Wales much more unforced errors.
Of course, we looked at those lineouts when we spoke at the beginning, and they are showing it. Was very bad in their lineouts.
Also defense, I'm not the kind of guy because I'm among friends, but as I said in the beginning, I told you so. Very simple. The dominating lineouts, getting all the balls, they're driving them back into tackles, and that is it, forcing them, Garth's done it to make mistakes. At this stage, it was a bit of a dull first 25, 30 minutes, but then the Springboks started getting into gear, and let's hope in the second half now they can go to overdrive and put them away.
22 points to 10, the Springboks lead. Remember, it's a new-look Springbok squad playing their first test under a new coach, which is, of course, Peter de Villiers, and a whole new coaching team. Stay with us here on Super Sport. We'll be back shortly, and after that, we hope, very good stuff for Peter de Villiers and his squad. So stay with us, and we'll be back shortly.
South Africa versus Wales.
at half-time. The Six Nations champions, the 21st Test match between the two. We're back in Bloemfontein, the City of Roses, and South Africa leads by 12 points at half-time. The world champions against the Six Nations champions, the 21st Test match between the two, and Wales looking for their first ever win on South African soil. Made an unconvincing start over the first 40 minutes, Joel Stransky.
Well, the unconvincing start came from all those errors. 10 errors in one half from an international team. This is far too many. South Africa would probably be disappointed with the 5, but that is the deciding factor at the moment. Tackles made, South Africa 38, Wales 26. That's a direct result of the possession being in the favour of the Welsh, but it's not always about how much ball you've got. It's always about how well you use the ball you've got. And South Africa so far used it a little bit better. And why I say that is Welsh looked a little one-dimensional at times. Kept on going in the same direction till they ran out of space. We got tackled into touch once. So they're trying to move it around and switch direction, change the point of attack on a number of occasions. When the Welsh did do it, it was in the form of Shane Williams. From that, they scored.
Absolutely delighted to be back from France and captaining his country.
You start wondering about those errors and about the tackling ability by the coaches, and we start to think about their bench shot now.
John Smith has led from the front, as we expected from him. Absolutely delighted to be back from France and captaining his country for the 50th occasion this afternoon. What an influence he's been. Alan Wynne-Jones has had a battle in the lineouts. South Africa will want to bring that man, Brian Havana, more into play in the second half.
Right up front, the Welsh have split the back, they kick to the right, makes them catch into the sun. And then they got kick off there.
Straight up the middle to Jantjes, who's got a huge right boot on him. Ryan Jones is well positioned. And now Stephen Jones. That's a difficult ball, and underneath it was Brian Havana. Looking straight up into the sun. Did well on the ground. John de Villiers with the kick. Now Jamie Roberts, the try scorer for Wales in the dying moments of the first half. Onto his opposite number, Jantjes. Shane Williams does well to control it, bouncing it back. Blue jersey defenders in front of him. Shabanga gets up, doesn't make the catch though. Turnover ball for Wales. Jonathan Thomas took it to ground to set up the ruck. Williams in at first receiver, looking to create something. Slip quickly up on defence. That's a try! To Wales.
It's over.
The advantage now over is Stafford Jones. Takes it to ground. Cooper Jones. And Shankland way behind the advantage line. He had no support. They had to get back. Let's continue to make the shots. Now a chance for Wales with a little bit of space out on the left. Thomas wanted to take the tackle. Wales continue to work the short side, this time through Matthew Rees. Keeper. Flat ball for Alan Wynne-Jones. Real momentum there for Wales. Jones now over the top. Can't get the pass to Shankland. It's a really good ball for Jones. Spies in the middle of the line-up. So many line-up options, and Luke Watson in possession. There's no way he had more to go, really. So it's back for Kamrani. Here's a ball from Havana to Chase. Times has tackled perfectly on Ryan Jones. He was well rescued by Kamrani. There's an awkward ball for him from the ball.
So again, that's a super kick. That's the defining factor. That's really its high hang time. Right right against the touchline. Bennett chased well. And as the feet of Mark James hit the ground, and Bennett was quick to grab another touch.
The line-out has functioned so efficiently for South Africa. Henry Specker on debut. Short snip in the open. To claim the catch, now the pick and drive from the Springboks. Trying to get out the Russian defence. And they turn it over. Anxious moments for the Six Nations champions. They rescued it well.
Smith and Pearson. Look at that for a combination. And look at this man go. Head down, takes on the outside. It's a brilliant tackle. It's got to be said. Jamie Roberts going across. A little bit of help from Tom Shankland who cut down the angle. Super tackle, trial saving tackle. And this one's the game. Really match saving tackle. Smith goes up to Clayers. Gets another line out. Try it again, please.
Touch, pause, engage.
Stephen Jones tries to turn. Tom Narashabanga claims it beautifully. It's fine.
Inside, Steve.
Jantjes with a huge clearance. Just to keep it in place. Jones took on the responsibility.
Take it out your legs!
Drive over from Brian Rajati. Good ball for Rich James. Down to Villiers. Thanks for the tackle. And there goes Jantjes.
Obviously been working on the offload out the tackle. She's the Villiers this time. His arms through, the little offload and the pace of Jacobs. Got away from his opposite number. Needed to be a switch there. Just rest his Kevin Hart through the tackle, through step gap. Exciting stuff from Sean de Villiers. This is what he did in 2008. He's got to get us movement to today. That's 6 runs. Big advantages here. Gets those arms through the tackle. Stephen Jones is 100 metres gain, 23. Steve Carson off his kit. It's had 6 runs, which is a world run through. 10 not renowned for his running ability. Steve Jones is engaged throughout. Stephen Jones. This could have been as well. Just far slow. Stephen Jantjes. He's seen the 2 runs. We would have expected more from him. But just getting 6 is a wall of red shirts in front of him. Too much winning opportunity. I spoke to the watch guys to say Williams has been first receiver at 10 on a number of occasions. He passes better than Stephen Jones. Pass carries
The 2 debutantes, Henry Specker and Brian Rajati, did not receive very satisfactory debuts and held out replacing them with CJ Ferdinand and Tighthead Prop for his 49th Test match, and Victor Matfield, the man and the captain of the World Cup final, his 6th
Sit down, Michael. Nice, get off it.
No weakness in these replacements whatsoever. So a Welsh line-out forward will be cleaned out all afternoon, and then you see Matfield coming on the near back. Here goes great awareness in the tackle from Jantjes. He knew he wasn't held quickly back onto his feet, but it was the acceleration through the gate that made that try. And South Africa easing away.
Turnover ball it was again. The Welsh carried it in, ripped away by John Smith. A Tommy's pass like a back. And John Villiers saw into the gap of those two front row forwards. Away he went, looked held for a second. Marked out the wrong. Tony Roberts could do nothing about it. Second try for South Africa. Explosion of pace. Celebrating.
Why not? John Villiers over for his 14th try in Test rugby. It's wonderful to see him coming through a Super 14 competition injury-free. How many tests, more than 34, might he have played had it not been for injuries? Truly cost a place in the World Cup final last year after injuring himself in the pool stages. As you mentioned, Joel, hats off to John Smith. What an influence he has been on every aspect of play. Look at the acceleration there. Trying to do a thing well off the kicking team. Let's set out a zero. Look at the acceleration there.
Sees a little into the gap. He realizes the big man's going to get. He's not going to get across. Smalls out as he tackles correct. John Villiers does just a
Look at the support from Adrian Jantjes, just helping him over the line as well, as was Brian Evans. Deep restart from Jones. Shavanga, who we saw, has got a pretty useful boot on him in the first half. One fine touch. Ryan Jones, Jamie Roberts. That's an unforgivable error at this level. Both the pass and the catch.
no excuses. Those captain should have made a better pass. Should have played another race. You've just conceded it. It's a good set on pointer. There's so much mistakes inside your own half. And back on the defensive line. South Africa flying side, open center. Hovering behind the scrum. Which way will it go? Fancy first whistle. This place will come down the corner and just shove it short.
So many options here for South Africa. Alan Rilke with intent behind the scrum.
Yes, Pearson with a big scrum off the other side. What a slap. There's only two Welsh defenders out on the side.
It is Pearson with a pick up and go. He hit hard in the tackle by Shane Williams. We'll feel that one later this evening.
Steps in, makes the vital tackle. Well defended by Wales, it must be said. It was an intricate move from South Africa.
Opportunity got a big
Ghana tried to come around the corner and free up a little bit of space. Williams not only strong in attack, strong in defence. Steps in and makes the vital tackle. Forced the error.
Opportunity got a bigging for South Africa there.
Stand up, let's go! Shoulders, all right! Use the ball!
Jones, Cooper, Stephen Jones, switch to Sonny Parker.
Stay out!
Physicality of the South African defence has been extraordinary throughout.
Right tackle!
They've forced a lot of errors, handling errors on Wales. Stephen Jones, beautifully floated pass over the top of the line, space there. Jamie Roberts does well, just to keep it inside the field. Stephen Jones, big strong man. Smith. Chicago was outside. Tackle from the end off. It's pretty clean ball for Karate. Smith trying to get the offload to Spies. Karate took it on the bounce. Villiers just squeezing it forward in the contact, but they really are starting to open up from broken play here in South Africa. Villiers visibly frustrated, giving up that opportunity.
It all comes from the foundation that's been laid. Sean Smith carried it up there. There was nothing really on. What he did was get over the game line. He got some go forward. He stayed on his feet long enough to buy time for the score. South Africans could attack with Jantjes has moved across to the tight end side. Duncan Jones in as Yusuf.
Let's go, Nike.
It's been a huge day for Wales Trust and so far all going well.
Move, tackle, get out of there.
Smith being just as usual. Huge amount of ball game. The leg goes to Brooks and gets it inside.
First touch was a good tackle. Spies followed up as well as anyone could. South Africa are well rewarded. Try number 3. Step and go. Montgomery, so I think nothing about it. Spies splashes over. Something else. Two is look at that step.
Watson with the handoff. Look at that step. Left straight on for dead. And Spies right on his head.
The presence of mind from Montgomery, you realise he might get caught from behind because of the step and the side step. Looking for the support time the pass to perfection. It was his last touch and what a way to lead the field.
This Mark Duplessis on for John Smith. Over a quarter of the game to go. Donnie Rousseau on for Bucky Squatter in the second row. His first touch for him now as he replaces Wallace McGrath. James is keeping under pressure. What a perfect bounce for him. Another son of a pass Springbok. Johan Pienaar. He played his final test for South Africa with Andries Becker's father, Penny, in New Zealand in 1981.
Again, just when you think until that players are going off, it's going to watch.
Numbers in the last cost Welsh this time. It was a good take.
feet good.
Okay, a little look to the inside. Released forward to Mark Jones. Look again, looking for work, getting himself involved. Loose ball for Wales and South Africa quickly through with the run.
Occasions got a little too close to the touchline. And the error has been forced, they've been tackled into touch. That's the Welsh starting team there by the changes. Stoddard, Hook, Montgomery, Duncan, Jones and Hilliard. 5 replacements so far. Changes too. Pearson, Montgomery. And come on, very much replacement.
First real time three-quarters of the way into the game that the Welsh trying to take it up amongst the forwards week that they did nothing from the South African tackles. They were prepared to take them on physically. Watson with the tackle on Tom Shanklin. Really has put himself about the park, Luke Watson. Very elusive good tackle from Adrian Jantjes as well. Anybody who questioned his defensive ability prior to this test match will have sat up and taken notice. Affected by South Africa now.
Backwards, go on.
Hibbert couldn't grab the pass, but still available for Hook. Very elusive runner. The tackle from Donny Rousseau.
Have it, yeah. He's legal, so it's not a problem.
And the turnover affected by South Africa now.
Realising he played the ball with his hands on it. Once he gets his hand on it, you're not going to get it back. That ball is out, which is why he's in time to play it.
All sorts written about the competition for places between
helped him a little bit by Delby picked it up.
Bismarck Du Plessis playing his 11th test match. All sorts written about the competition for places between him and John Smith, both at the Sharks and for South Africa.
Jantjes has had such a good game. He's been off with a slight injury. Jantjes, what a game he's had. Welcome back to Test rugby. One of the candidates for man of the match, another Australian in 66 minutes.
Percy Montgomery comes on to win Test cap 95. 873 points, a lot of animation in the Springbok coaching booth. Peter de Villiers very angry about something. Big scrum from South Africa. Spies with the pick up at the back, trying to get the hand off on Jonathan Thomas. Bismarck Du Plessis standing off. Donny Rousseau asked to make the tackle. The tackle came from the Welsh skipper Ryan Jones. South Africa making no headway there.
Turn the rook into a maul. Mix it up, rook to maul.
Constellation there. I know Bucky's brought up. He's standing on the sideline like he's going back. He's been dabbing a little bit of blood off his head. So, got the time, got the blood. You have 15 minutes to get back in. I'm not sure what's happening in the Springbok Jantjes box, a little consternation there. There's no Bucky's blotter. He's standing on the sideline like he's going back. He's been dabbing a little bit of blood off his ear. So, I don't know about the timing of the blood. You have 15 minutes to get back on. Also wonders, Villiers isn't a bit upset with the fact that Pearson didn't go on instead of Montgomery with the injury. He's a centre, he's the best great centre.
Great attacking line for Wales. Again, they're trying to get some sort of more rumbling towards the Springbok line. Fury for James Hook. Kick defence at close quarters. Holds out for now. Gareth Dale back to claim. Managed to pick the ball up, but he's driven backwards in the tackle now. Support from Jonathan Thomas. He does love to run with the ball. Such a gifted footballer. Fury for James Hook. A little kick over the top for Williams to chase, but Ruan Pienaar got back to claim the mark.
Let him run, let him run!
And the tap and go from Ruan Pienaar. He does love to run with the ball. Such a gifted
Ball off the ground. On rock now!
Percy Montgomery with a big clean out of the ruck.
19 green, 3 tokens. Stay, stay.
Brian Banner in the scrum half position in the absence of Pienaar. A kick over the top to Shane Williams. Good clearance from Butch James. Brian Banner, of course, he played scrum half at school. Turned into a
19 green, 3 tokens. Thanks.
Instead of Pearson into centre. Welsh blood being attended to now. Pictures park here in Bloemfontein. Just thinking if Peter Villiers wouldn't have wanted Peter Grant to go on at that centre. Instead of Pearson Montgomery because it's a centre.
Take that off the book.
Bucky's Butcher is back on the field. Indeed, a long replacement. So the old firm Butcher in midfield is restored, as is the car in the coaching booth. On the line out for Wales, Sonny Parker, who's touched the ball up all afternoon. Hasn't had much success. Jean de Villiers caught offside. So Wales had no choice but to set up the line out here.
Well, if you want to chase the game, you need tries. Something help to kick threes now.
Just stop. Not 12 points there.
Let's see if we kick it. It's Coins on his lazy running. Going back looking up. Maybe this time. Test up the middle.
Test them.
Got it coming quicker.
It's commonly known as lazy running, not going back looking up.
Richard Hibbert is now 6 metres out from the Springbok line. Test number 5 for him.
Got it coming quicker. Both sides stay out the gap, please.
Technically strictness of Dave Pearson, the referee. He's handling it as Luke Watson starting on the scratch once again. Another shot in the Villiers to Montgomery over the top to Havana. First real chance for Havana to stretch his legs. Pienaar, good hands from Montgomery. Just virtually no room to work with. Typical Shuan Smith performance, hasn't it? Making those crucial yards.
It makes that easier quickly as Montgomery could get across, not quick enough. And look at this for the step. Banner tearing across. No real option when you're defending against someone with that much pace. You can't do it from the outside. And Williams has rounded off brilliantly. A little sway of the hips. Brilliant try.
A little gesture at the end. Where are you, defenders? Left you for dead.
Well, they slipped him, falling over on the far side.
Comes off. Ian Evans comes on to win.
Top
replacement from Wales. Chased the restart. Ian Goff comes off and Ian Evans comes on to win his 13th Test cap. Sprays up. See a big hit on the captain by Brian Banner, who chased the restart. Great determination. Pressure on the kick of James Hook.
Good clearance.
He seems to have that little bit of extra time. We're going to see a lot of James Hook's 26th appearance today. So Nelson in the background in the closing stages of the Six Nations Championships. Time the tackle to perfection. Little great pivots, he seems to have that little bit of extra time. Matfield. Wonderful line out win. Now the chase from Tommy Tashabanga. Wins it well in the air, but Shane Williams timed the tackle to perfection.
First defence, lads. First defence was lost forward.
Shane Williams scores the try, now makes the big tackle. Tommy right to Manga. Probably if there was any criticism, the kick just hung up there a fraction long for him. By the time it got to him, he almost had to jump to collect it, knowing that Williams was coming. Williams got there quickly and made a good tackle. Good idea, good thinking, pretty good execution.
Big scrum from South Africa. Just like to see South Africa finish. To kick over the top from Warren Fury. Shavanga again called into action. Come back for a penalty to Wales. We'd just like to see South Africa finish with a flourish here. It's almost as though they've taken their foot off the pedal just a fraction.
Only a couple of good substitutions, tactical substitutions from the last team. Sounds like there's no good attacks. Jantjes is willing to play 4 minutes, and it's become a dead 15 minutes, I suppose. As much as South Africa really taking their foot off the pedal, and Welsh will attack well.
James Hook's penalty doesn't find touch, opens up the field for South Africa to counter-attack. Beautiful pass from Jantjes for Villiers, and now good recycle for Pearson. James. It was Luke Watson with the kick ahead. It's beautifully forwarded back to Glenn. Jantjes quickly stood up, was there in support this time. Much better clearance from James Hook. John Smith eager to get things going. Matfield. James for Walker Peter. Hands beautifully through the tackle in the offload for Jantjes, and quickly up there again was Peter. James. Perfectly entitled to play that ball. Test win on South African soil is not going to happen on the 7th of June 2008. 4 tries now for South Africa and a flawless kicking performance from Butch James to boot. It's just about the toughest kick that Butch James has had. 3 conversions so far, 5 penalties. And why not? This is just about the toughest kick that Butch James has had. 3 conversions so far, 5 penalties. Montgomery. Spies takes the restart and hands off to him, but eventually made the tackle. Pearson, his kick under pressure off the hand of a Welsh defender. Donnie is so back on the pitch again, just isn't in pace. Smith.
Let's go, please.
Taking control of the line-up calls and got the ball from his left partner back. He's brought it to Pearson. Tasked driving it up in midfield. Peter Grant for Montgomery. The rolling kick for Abana to chase. He might not have many attacking opportunities, but he's chased those kicks with great determination all afternoon, put in a solid defensive effort. Test debut for Wales.
6, you're on it again.
Jonathan Thomas. Caught up in midfield.
Far too many bodies going forward.
And South Africa win the turnover by going forward at the ruck. It's fantastic field position for them to attack from the scrum.
Yeah, the South African team has love for winning the confrontation, for winning the contact situation. If they do, it means they're going forward.
Yeah, step this one.
To the end ball. That's exactly what they're going. Space on both sides. Abana hovering again behind the scrum. Won't be the same move as earlier in the game.
Get away!
CJ van der Linden started the scrum, but Peter Grant got his pass away to Montgomery. For Donnie Rousseau playing very flat.
Red, leave it red!
Penalty South Africa, falling up to the ball, slowing it down.
5 on the wrong side, playing the ball.
London Jones, penalised. And Peter Grant called upon to keep in touch. His 3rd test cap this afternoon, having won the Tri Nations tour to Australia and New Zealand last year in Joe Black's team.
18 offside.
And following that with an excellent Super 14 performance for the Stormers after a bit of a shaky start.
Offside 18.
He's brought it again.
Offside, advantage 18. 18 offside.
Now South Africa get the drive going. How do you see it?
Offside 18.
Penalty. Stretches it out.
As they go upstairs, it might not be the relevant thing. The war taking place. Some of the advertising positions.
Is it a try? Yes or no, please?
So a couple of things to adjudicate here. The TMO grand news from England being called in for the first time. I suspect that Lyndon Bray is going to have a word as well about the 5 years. Abana, not held in the tackle, gets up. And Mark Jones tried to turn him. Can't see the ball in that frame. Got a knee in the head for his efforts as well, did Brian Abana. There's the ball.
On the ground, they've got the whistle may have gone by then. This would be the camera angle.
Look at the clean out of Gareth Dell by Bucky's Burte.
It's going to be impossible to tell. And in the meantime, the guilty parties in the ball have been called aside. Pearson. On the ground a bit. I think the whistle had gone by then.
Okay, no problem. It was held up, therefore it will be a scrum 5, green ball. Okay?
So Graham Hughes is called to make a decision. CJ van der Linden has received a yellow card.
Okay, no problem. It was held up, therefore it will be a scrum 5, green ball. Okay?
Richard Hibbert has also been sent from the field for 10 minutes. Two men who started the fight. The comment from Graham Hughes is that the ball was held up, scrum 5 to South Africa, and both sides will have to bring on a replacement in the front row. Richard Hibbert and CJ The yellow card's happened because of this. Richard Hibbert driving into CJ van der Linden. Getting him around the neck. There they go. Richard Hibbert and CJ van der Linden going at it hammer and tongs. Guthrie Steenkamp lending his weight to the contest as well. But those two players, CJ van der Linden and Richard Hibbert, will play no further part in the game.
A lot of pushing, a lot of shoving, not a whole lot in it. Though CJ van der Linden didn't look to swing and punch it. There were any swings that may well have been Richard Hibbert. It's assuming this position between the two to make sure they don't get out of the game. Starting to say is actually come off while Brian Jantjes goes back. 3 times over the years or so.
5 minutes left. 5 minutes. Uncontested. Let's go. No. Let's go.
So now the call here is that there'll be uncontested scrums because Wales can't provide another front row forward. So the Springboks said, well, if it's uncontested, why must we replace Brian Jantjes? It's a fair call.
Guys, we must still bind. Back rows, still bind, please.
In the last 4 minutes of the game to have uncontested scrums. It's been a pretty tough physical contest. This, of course, is South African brilliant.
Oh, get it away!
Now Spies breaks off the back of the scrum. Well placed for Ruan Pienaar in midfield.
Hands away!
Looking for try number 5. Wide ball for Pearson Montgomery.
That's fine.
And again they take it through the phases effectively. Haven't made much headway yet though. Welsh defence holding up for now.
Woo, tackle! No.
Pienaar. Over the top and knocked down by Spies in midfield. Disappointing for all the supporters. And they'll be happy with a 4-try performance from South Africa.
Yeah, a little eyes off the ball at the last second. Just looking to see where the defenders are. A little over anxious, much to the disappointment of the die-hard fans. Probably wanting South Africa to get to 50. Maybe as a result of being very cautious through the Super 14 and very disciplined in the approach to the breakdown. This puck is going on very crucial. Straight up from the side, she's the first man. It's been a convincing performance coming through James. Completely unconvincing performance. So very much to take that, they've kicked it out. Seconds to score. Well, they want to finish inside South Africa. It's been a convincing performance. Completely unconvincing one from the visiting Welsh team. Pino changes the direction. And Spies showing his great strength in the tackle. Two defenders with him. Now Pino. His face on the short side. Full time is up. That's Captain, man. That ball is not coming out, and Pearson signals the end to Villiers. First test in charge of South Africa, and what a commanding performance it was from his squad. He started with only 5 of the players who were in the starting lineup at the World Cup final in France in 2007, and if anything, he's proved what depth he has in South African rugby to work with. Celebrate this evening. 4 tries to South Africa. Butch James, a flawless kicking performance. 9 kicks in goal, 5 penalties, and 4 conversions.
South Africa versus Wales.
And Bloemfontein will celebrate this evening as South Africa put in a commanding performance. They've beaten Wales by 43 points to 17.
South Africa versus Wales.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Ryan, a little bit tough out there this afternoon. Where'd it go wrong?
Yeah, I think we made a few too many mistakes in the first half. I think we failed to keep hold of the ball, and we got punished for it. You know, we got 22 bitterly disappointed guys. Certainly that was a reflection of us as a team. But
Ryan, a little bit tough out there this afternoon. Where'd it go wrong?
Yeah, I think we made a few too many mistakes in the first half. I think we failed to keep hold of the ball, and we got punished for it. You know, we got 22 bitterly disappointed guys because I certainly don't think that was a reflection of us as a team. But we got 6 days to put it right.
Did you miss a ball player on the midfield? The Springbok tight five seems to do quite well, particularly in the lineouts.
Yeah, they did. You know, the set piece was superb. They kept the ball, and then they capitalised when we made mistakes. To a man, I think they played very well.
It's been a long season. First real attacking option, Shane Williams at the deck. Did you miss a ball player on the midfield?
Yeah, of course we can. We won't even say that. You know, the guys who were there performed superbly. I think we missed a bit of ball more than ball players, but no excuse. Yeah, that's sport now.
It's the end of a long season for you guys. Tough to leave 8 players at home. Can you come back next week?
Yeah, of course we can. You know, we won't hear any excuses from us. There's 24 guys out here to do a job, and we'll have an opportunity to put it right next week. Certainly no excuses from me or from my guys.
Well, I'd like today. Good luck next week.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Where did you target the Welsh from? One man who I'm sure is absolutely delighted to be in the Green and Gold show back in South Africa, John Smith. John, you look happy? Happy with the performance?
Yeah, happy with the results. Happy to be back home, and certainly it's great to start test season off with a good victory.
Where did you target the Welsh from the start?
Well, we wanted to be quite effective with the ball in hand, and I think when we had the ball, we looked pretty good. But there's a lot of work still to be done. I think we were pretty lax on defence. 17 points certainly. I think doesn't do the attack justice in terms of how we defended. So we've got a lot of work to do next week, but we wanted to keep the ball, and I don't think we did enough of that this week.
Certainly enough. A lot of progress from the style of rugby last year. More defensive, World Cup rugby. Happy with the building?
A good start. Certainly, I think we're in a good place at the moment, considering we've had very minimal time to prepare in terms of the longs for the 14, the guys playing in the semi-final in terms of the shots. Coming late with a couple of the European guys, but we can only get better now. Preparation can only get easier and easier as we have more time together. So a good start, but certainly a lot more to do.
A quick word about the new coaching team.
Yeah, I think it's phenomenal. I think it certainly is the start of a new era. Peter's been phenomenal. I think he is, as well as myself, have been pretty nervous the last 2 weeks, and he finally gets some sleep tonight after worrying about us for the last 2 weeks. But he creates a great environment, and the guys really feel comfortable in what they're doing, and we're prepared for today's test.
Well done. In terms of preparation, another big one next week. What do you hope to improve on?
Well, certainly we'll have to step up our defence. It's nowhere near good enough in terms of how far we want to go this year, and certainly in terms of organisational skills, and we can get a little bit more effective of scrum time and launch the line-up.
Super. Well done. Say good luck next week.
Thanks, Joel. Appreciate it.
As per usual, we have a Vodacom man of the match today. Tough decision, number of good performances in the team, but Butch James is this afternoon's man of the match. Before we chat to Butch, I'm going to ask Mr. Neville van Niekerk to present Butch with his Krugerrand, courtesy of Vodacom.
Yeah, luckily the guys scored a lot of tries under the poles.
Butch, let's start with the kicking performance. Some people said maybe a little risky without having Pearson in the team. You look great out there with the boot.
I went to right today. I'm definitely getting my kicking coach Pearson Montgomery helped me during the week, and luckily the guys scored a lot of tries under the poles, and the timing and everything was there today.
You enjoyed your time in the UK? Is it nice to be home again?
Yeah, it's been great to come home and check on my mates again, and it definitely gives you a boost and picks you up. It's been a long season over there, and to get you and see all of them, and just the vibe in the camp's been awesome, and it's really lifted everyone up.
Was there a change in pace in the game? Was it difficult to adapt again?
Yeah, I was definitely blowing in the first half, especially at altitude and playing in the sun again. So it was a different tempo and pretty quick, but I settled in, and our forwards helped me get some ball on the front foot.
Super, well done. Some nice attacking ball, some nice attacking play outside.
Yeah, we didn't have too much attacking ball. I think a lot of our good play came from turnovers, but I think something to work on, and hopefully next weekend we can show a good attacking performance.
Super, well done, Butch. Great game, not just the kicking, and thoroughly deserved the Vodacom Man of the Match award. Good luck next week. Well, to our international viewers, we say good night. For our local viewers, we'll be back with more interviews after this.